that you are glad that it's gone. And maybe at that time that was, struggle for you.
Yeah.
You were like, I love
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
But now you're glad that it's gone.
Dating sucked. I'll tell you why dating sucked. And you mentioned like no filters. I believe in transparency. I believe because I believe that the reason someone could relate to you is just because like, I'm just talking to you directly.
I'm sure some people judge you because of that though,
bro.
by the
And
way.
that's 100% true, because they live in a little bubble, and anyone that's trying to sort of tamper with their bubble is a threat. That, they're going to pop my bubble. The goal is not to pop your bubble, is to expand your bubble so that you can learn a little more. And the more you learn about Islam, the more you realize that your bubble is really unpoppable. It's a beautiful bubble, but just don't keep it to yourself. Spread your bubbles, out there, make more bubbles. All right. The reason I don't miss dating, and I'll tell you a true story, anyone out there in the dating field right now. I actually bought my freedom from a date, and not the kajur date, I'm talking about like the dates. I remember there was this girl from my past, and she was actually one of the reasons I turned back to Allah. And it was an ex of mine who really, like, we broke up, and I was a hot mess. And I obviously found Allah in this process. So alhamdulillah for my ex in a way, I genuinely found my purpose because of that heartbreak. So anyone out there, first and foremost, anyone out there struggling with a heartbreak, just know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removes someone and he's going to replace with someone better. Not just a human being, but also the love of Allah in your heart is going to increase. And this is the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will call you back to him, because you gave your heart to someone who doesn't deserve it. Your heart belongs to Allah. He's the only one worthy. He's the best of masters who will never let you down. So I remember I changed my way and everything like that. But bro, I was lacking something called closure. And there's a lot of times people end up getting back with their exes because they lack closure. They haven't gotten over their exes because they lack closure. And for those of you who don't know what closure means, it's just because of, like, basically those loose ends aren't tied, right? They're still left over. They're untied. So imagine putting a bunch of beads. Because you haven't tied the end of the knot, they all slip out because you're still thinking about your ex. The only time I think about my ex today, bro, is when I'm talking about it. Really. So I remember I was lacking closure, and I would just hope that, I would just want to find out where did it all go wrong. Okay. So I remember I hit them up or they hit me up. I can't remember exactly, but it was something where we mutually crossed paths again. Okay. Wallahi, bro, I went on a date with her, and it was my final date ever with another human being, period, right? I went out, and wallahi, bro, this was just like maybe a month and a half of just having some Islam in my life. Just a little. Yeah. Bro, I listened to her, bro. Every single thing that she was saying, those qualities that I loved about her before, I started to despise. I started seeing her for who she really was. And she was always like that. She didn't become a new person. She was always like that. But I never had a rubric to judge people with. Now, and by the way, judge is not a bad word. It's just like, how do I sort of see a person for what they are? And bro, I started noticing all these qualities about her that I did not like. Like, she was a liar, bro. She used to lie a lot, and I didn't like that. It never bothered me before, but now it does. She used to do all these other things. So I remember we went on a date. We went to Dave & Buster's. I don't know if you guys have that over here. You guys don't know. For those, shout out to Americans out there. Only the Americans know. The Yankees, they know about those Dave & Buster's, right? It's basically just American food. I don't eat that. I eat like the zabiha halal, so I'd eat like maybe fish or shrimp from there or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like it's like a gaming place, whatever. Okay, we went over there, and I didn't have a job at this point, so she wanted to go out to eat. And before, bro, no problem. We would go out, we would eat. I'd pick up the bill, not a problem. This time I know I didn't have much money, so I didn't really want to go out. But she said, come on, it's a good meal. So she kept on like saying, hey, let's go eat. But the way she made it seem, bro, I'm not trying to be funny, bro. It made it seem like she was going to pay for it. I'm going to be honest with you. And for those of you on a date, know what I'm talking about. Like, it's that awkward moment, bro. She's ordered everything. I didn't even order anything because I know that I'm not going to be able to pay for anything. Okay. But she orders the food. The waitress comes and puts the bill in the middle, and that awkward stage happens. We both are on our phones, and I'm just like, is she going to pick it up? Is she going to pick it up or what? Like, I'm waiting for that shadow to come in the background for her to just grab the check. Bro, we're sitting there for a minute and a half, and eventually I just grab it. And I remember, till this day, it was a $50 bill. Till this day, I remember it. Wow. And I remember thinking to myself that Allah has just bought my freedom. That was the last time I paid for a date. That was the last time I've ever paid for anyone from something like that perspective. And I never spoke to this girl again because there was something about that. And the more I realized, bro, she was like a gold digger, a lot of her. Because I used to have a really, really nice job at one point. I was making tons of money. And I gave that all up because I wasn't happy on the inside. Something was missing. And bro, she was just about the money. And she just wanted me to take care of her and all that. May Allah bless her and guide her. You know what I mean? I have nothing against her. But bro, I bought my freedom that day. And I remember the anxiety of dating, bro. Paying for people, meeting someone, and just the wonders, and meeting someone every day until you become so, bro, like your standards drop. Each person impacts you in a specific way that your standards start dropping. Eventually you're going to settle for someone.
I was speaking to someone about this the other day. I was speaking to a brother about this.
Sorry, that was a long monologue. I apologize.
No,
Yeah.
no. It's good, bro. Yesterday, because I actually think we can bring an amazing point from
Talk
that.
to me.
Yesterday, I was speaking to a brother, and this brother now, we were speaking about. It's amazing you mentioned this because we were speaking about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made certain things haram.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, dating is haram. Clear cut, everyone knows this. And obviously, you're talking about your past to bring some benefit out of it. Now, bro, I believe, like, even from what you just said, it reinstated what we said yesterday. That, bro, every time you do that, I think you realize, I think maybe now you've definitely realized why that's haram in the first place.
100%.
Because, bro, it like destroys you bit by bit. It's destroying you. And it's like, it's making you desensitized also to women. And it's Allah.
Bro, I viewed women
Yeah.
as a 3-hour person. That's how I viewed her. I didn't view her with any value. I viewed her as a dinner and maybe something after. I don't view you more than that. And the more bad relationships you go through, you think that you get better. No, bro. It basically takes a piece out of you. And what happens is you begin to settle. You lower your standards and your values because eventually you're like, I need to find someone.
And this is like a message to the brothers that are doing this. It's gonna destroy you and even the sisters.
Bro, it does.
And it's like because a lot of unfortunately a lot of Muslims they find themselves in these situations. And I feel like a lot of people, bro, find themselves listening to music, doing that, doing all of the things you mentioned.
They're all linked. Yeah.
It's all to find that inner purpose. It's all for that. It's like you know, I was actually listening to I don't know if you know Richard Dawkins. You know Richard Dawkins. Yeah, Richard Dawkins, one of the leading atheists of the world right now, and he actually mentioned something that when you look at the world. And this is him mentioning this, when I look at the world and I look at all of these things, it makes me want to worship.
He's an atheist?
Yeah,
this is an atheist?
Yeah, it makes me want to worship something. Yeah.
Wow.
And bro, it's like, it shows us how intrinsic worship is within us because all of this is like worship, bro.
It is.
You're trying to find
you're
something
giving an
to
act
give your
of
heart.
something.
Exactly.
You're giving an act of return.
Exactly.
It is.
You're trying to give
It's a
your heart to
partnership.
something.
Yeah, it is. And we end up worshiping the wrong thing.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
And they don't yield any goodness for our heart.
Exactly.
They don't.
Yeah, and it's like eventually, bro, you come to realize many people. This is how the typical revert story is. Maybe someone came from drugs. Maybe someone came from alcohol. Someone came from music. I was with a brother yesterday. He was telling me music was a big struggle for me. You know, just like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Everyone has a struggle, but it's like the disease was the same.
Yeah.
If you get it,
Yeah.
the disease.